The only bad sex is that doesn't have emotion in it. If you're showing up and you're flat, that's the best way of assuring it's going to be negative. Hi, I'm Cullen.
And I'm Elitia.
Your favorite relationship coaches. Welcome to our YouTube channel.
Today we're talking about how to keep your relationship spicy.
And the only way that's going to happen is if you embrace uncertainty. Most people are creatures of habit, so lean into those habits hard. And, consistency is a great thing, but consistency, just like anything else, it thrives when it's met with balance as well.
Yeah.
Like you think about consistency in the bedroom, and if you consistently doing the same thing, everybody's going to be bored. So it's about embracing uncertainty, which can be a little frightening for some people, but I promise you, not knowing is going to take you on an exciting journey.
Yeah. And not just for bedroom too. Like keeping it spicy in your relationship is not just a bedroom conversation, but it has to be in all areas. If y'all are consistently greeting each other the same, if you're consistently going to the same restaurants, if you're consistently giving them their love language the same way, that's an autonomous robotic relationship. I'm sorry if you're already doing it. I'm just going to have to call it. It's robotic. It's stiff. It doesn't leave any opportunity for when you change, your body changes. Like when you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, your body is going to do stuff different. And it's going to want refreshment. It's going to want something new and different. It's going to want adventure. Now, you could lie to yourself and be like, oh, no, we setting out. We good in this routine. But your body is really crying out for something new and fresh.
Yeah, there are lots of choices on the menu for a reason. When you allow people to be who they are, you're halfway there. Forcing solutions always creates more problems. We're called human beings for a reason. And people discuss their relationships. They talk about being together. These things they're this way for a reason. It's not about you taking on another persona, but it's about you being more genuine than you've ever been in your life. And great relationships done right is you being vulnerable, which is embracing uncertainty. Because let me tell you this, nobody that's ever done this has had a guarantee. So you will have to be brave and lean into that uncertainty. And I promise you, it will reap some great benefits for you. Let me share this with you. Vulnerability is another way to amp up the creativity and spice in your relationship as well.
Vulnerability is one of the ways to bring spice back to your relationship. I have a couple more that I'm thinking about. One is deepening that emotional and physical connection. Again, the way that you connected with your partner emotionally when y'all first met is going to change when the first life incident happens. Listen, life is going to keep on lifing. Do you have regular check-ins with your partner? If you can't have them every week to have a state of the relationship, how are you doing emotionally? What's your mental state, honey? If you can't do that, then I need you to make it every 2 weeks. Make it every month, but don't go out a month. Don't go longer than 30 days without having that emotional check-in. You and your partner need to connect and stay connected because life is going to keep on lifing, but you two need to stay connected regardless of what happens in the world. As you are building your emotional connection with your person, another thing you have to do is really lean into those conversations that may be difficult or hard. Don't pretend like everything is okay. Listen, that's your person. You picked your person. So you may have to be like, hey, honey, what I'm about to say may sting, but, or sting and get it out of you because your partner knows when something's wrong. You're going to have to share it. If you don't share it, articulating it, it will show up in your face, your body language, your emotions. So get it out. Have those conversations. That's another way to bring spice back to your relationship. And then after that, make sure that you are really digging into their love language. If you don't know your partner's love language, then take the free quiz, Dr. Gary Chapman, a whole book, a whole online quiz. You have no excuse. Find out your partner's love language. Because remember, relationships are about service. So if you know your love language and don't know your partner's, then you're saying, I know I want to be served, but I don't know how to pour into my partner. So it's going to be important for you to know how you're pouring into your partner so that they can feel loved. It's about how they get filled up. And that's going to keep your relationship spicy.
For example, my wife's love language is words of affirmation. Don't make this harder than it has to be.
Let me hear it.
Say this is not about you. This is about your partner. Remember that you're in a position where you're serving. Just like if you were a waiter, you're not giving that person the steak that you want. You're giving them the steak that they ordered. And once you know their order, every time they come in, your usual and you bring them their usual. It's the same with your partner.
Yeah.
Don't make it harder than it has to be.
Yeah, words of affirmation is mine because Cullen can instantly reset me, bring me back up, all of the things with a few words. I'd be like, oh, yep, heard that. And Cullen's is physical touch. He has a couple, but his primary is physical touch. So if Cullen is too deep into something or mood shifting, I could rub his head, I could hold his hand. We could be out walking.
Total reset.
And total reset. He like a little just crumbles in my hand.
First of all, let me just say this to you. When it comes to physical intimacy, we have two bodies. Okay, there's the physical and there's the spiritual body. To take on your partner and to ignore the spiritual side, that's a huge miss. And I can tell you, the only bad sex is that doesn't have emotion in it. You chose this person, so I'm sure you vetted to get the things, that person has the things that turn you on, hopefully. But I'm just telling you this, that if you're showing up and you're flat, that's the best way of assuring it's going to be negative. And keep an open mind. The worst thing you can do is try to script it. Go with the flow. Enjoy each other and go with the vibe. It's going to be fun. It's hard to mess it up if your emotions are there and you are showing up genuinely with one another. Yeah, you probably already figured this out, but I am not a fan of regimented sex days, putting sex on the schedule, all of that stuff like that. I really feel like you are robbing your relationship, your sex life of the magic that's inherent in it. Like I said earlier, leaning into uncertainty is it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Certainty is where creativity goes to die. And so I promise you, and there's nothing more certain than penciling in when you're going to have sex with each other. That's probably the least romantic thing that you've probably been on the other end of.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be judgmental here. I just think I'm not even attacking that. I'm asking you to trust yourself that if it's a priority, you will make time for it. And so if you have to go back and lean in it to make it a priority, let's not go so granular where you think you're talking about dates, but go to where you address the priority aspect, and you will find it will find a place in your life. I trust it will.
The last thing I would add to the whole spicing it back up in the bedroom, part in the bedroom, is getting the creative. Now that could be introducing toys, candles, wax, music, different positions.
Right.
Go together to some stores. Like Colin and I early on visited the Sex Museum here in New York. We go to different things just to like keep it fresh, because it may not come to me naturally, it may not come to him naturally, but there's a whole world of people that this is their thing. They focus on how to keep sex and physical intimacy fresh. And so we go to the pros.
That's right. You collect recipes.
Do the same in your relationship. Keep it spicy. You're not eating noodles and rice and meat every day. Do things differently. And again, physical intimacy, keeping a relationship fresh, doesn't have to be confined to the bedroom. It can be physical touchings that are non-sexual, especially if their love language is physical touch. Because physical touch as a love language is non-sexual. That is holding hands. That's just a random hug. That's standing close proximity to your partner versus sending them a text or a call or an email. Physical touch, people need that feeling of closeness, feeling of you around. So it's not always confined to the bedroom, but you want to keep it spicy by changing the way you engage with your partner. If you know that it's always you grabbing their hand or holding their hand for a random walk, maybe do a hug this time, or shoulder locking, or switch up. Keep it spicy.
And let me tell you this, you know them up here. Get in there. It's nothing in the world like anticipation. You're talking about driving things up. Get in there and create some anticipation. Works for me. So one of the biggest advantages that I count for us is that both my wife and I are lifelong learners. We're always looking for ways to enjoy our city and enjoy each other. And it's actually it's a 2-for-1. I learn more about my wife and I learn more about my city, and then it's fun. Look, this is not, you're not going to get graded for it and get an F on your test if it's a miss. And worst case scenario, you're going to learn something else. You'll know that that's a place you never want to go to again. But don't ever stop, shooting and trying different stuff. And trust me, it's no fedoras going to be hanging out outside the restaurant saying, well, Cullen, you picked another bad date. It's just go for it. Take a risk. It's worth it.
Yeah, I like the creative dates that Cullen picks out. Like we'll do random. He'll just say, "Let's go," and we walking through this tunnel on a cliff in Maine, like random. Like, where are you taking me, dude? Spookiness, but because it's my person, I trust that it's going to be something new and adventurous because he's the most adventurous one in our relationship, and it usually involves that let's try something new. And even though we live in New York City, live in Harlem, we'll hop on and hop on and hop off bus, like a double decker tour, because it's still exploratory, still something fresh. We try to make sure that we plan a trip every year, maybe maybe twice a year. Every quarter is what we really want. But at least we're doing something together and going to somewhere we haven't gone before, even individually. So that's something that's a part of our regular routine, and we invite you to do that to keep your relationship spicy, so you both can have new memories in a new location. It's so important for your relationship's journey, the lifespan of your relationship, to keep it interesting and fresh. And one of the things that we work with our couples on, especially, is that whole 2 to the 7 power model. We really encourage them to have those touch points, those conversations, the 222, right? The conversations, the touch points, the dates, the walks, the check-ins, the state of the relationship, all on the 2. So it could be every 2 days, every 2 weeks, every 2 months, every 2 years. And of course, we host the couples retreat every 2 years, but it's important for you to keep that. That could be regimented, that could be scheduled, because that's something that you're going to introduce freshness at these different checkpoints.
Also, this is something that I feel is a trap that a lot of people fall into. They will put it on the other person to take responsibility for it. Like, it'll be they'll make it your responsibility to be the one to entertain them and keep them excited, keep them, peaked. And that's so unfair. There's 2 people in a relationship. Both of you are eating off this relationship. Both of you should be providing for the relationship. So be at least 50% engaged in coming up with the things that keep your relationship exciting.
That's a good point, because in our relationship, while Cullen is the more adventurous one, Cullen is down. The trips gonna be spot on. They're gonna be planned. That's not my lane. But all the food spots and what we're gonna eat and mixing that up, that's my lane. I don't have to be Cullen, but together we got the whole spread covered.
Keeping your relationship spicy is definitely a journey, and please give yourself a break. It may take a while. Allow yourself to be bad at it as you're getting good at it. And I just want to remind you of some of the things that we went over today. We talked about leaning into uncertainty. That is a gold mine of creativity and freedom. Your partner will appreciate you allowing them to be, and not have them on a script or on a calendar. Your sex life, set it free. Set your partner free. And we also went over
deepening physical and emotional intimacy, and just be vulnerable.
Yeah, remember, there's 2 of you. There's the physical side and the spiritual side. Address both of them.
If you enjoyed any of these to keep your relationship spicy, which we hope you're putting into practice right now, then join us in our Love Leader Lounge. They are free sessions the first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday of every month. Check out those links below. And make sure you subscribe to our channel. See you next time.